Real Madrid's problem is Mbappe. Obviously, we all know it's about money. Maybe he was the solution. He's always going to be exposed. He's always going to suffer. Defending is the problem. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Let's Talk Footy. My name is Shaheen, and I'm very excited to be here with you today. Let's get to it. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to talk about. And I'm going to start off with Real Madrid. What a season they're having. Oh man, where do I start? Real Madrid's not having the greatest season. They're not doing terrible, but in the league, obviously, they're behind Barcelona, their rivals. It was 9 points, and after this past weekend, it went down to 6 points, and that's because Barcelona lost to Real Sociedad 1-0. Now, that was an interesting game. Although Real Sociedad did enough and deserved to win that game, Barcelona did score a goal, but Lewandowski's goal was called offside, and God, that was, it doesn't get tighter than that. The tip of his shoe or toe, this is where VAR and the offside rule is a bit tricky, because how can a player avoid that? It didn't seem fair, but also because of VAR, so many calls are corrected now. So it comes, I guess, with the technology, it comes with the territory. If you want to use VAR, it's never going to be perfect. If you want to use technology, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be better than human error in general. So yeah, it was tough for Barcelona. It didn't seem fair, but he was, according to the rules, he was still a little bit offside. So thank God, because as a Real Madrid fan, I'm not complaining. Real Madrid was able to win 4-0 against Osasuna and reduce the deficit to 6 points now. But that was a must-win game for Real Madrid, because Carlo Ancelotti is a bit under pressure at the moment. The losses in the Champions League, in the league, they haven't been helping him, and Real Madrid has just looked a bit of a mess recently. So that was an important game for Real Madrid to bounce back from, and they did. You can say Vinicius again individually took over and used his brilliant skills and leadership on the team to score a hat-trick. Jude Bellingham finally was able to score his first goal of the season, so he was a bit under pressure as well. So, they did okay. And the most important thing for me was the clean sheet. They won 4-0, which means they didn't concede any goals, because defensively, Real Madrid has been horrendous. Oh man, don't even get me started. Lucas Vazquez, who got actually injured in this game, and we'll get to that in a bit, but Lucas Vazquez is not a right back. He's not a defender. He was always a right winger or right midfielder, and over time, because he's not as clinical as a winger and as an attacking player, he's started covering defensively for the team, and because he's a disciplined player, he has kind of made himself become a right back or a cover player for when Carvajal is injured or there isn't enough defensive options for the coach. So in the past few games against Dortmund, he played as a right back. Even though Real Madrid won 5-2, Vazquez was directly involved in the 2 goals that Real Madrid conceded. Against Barcelona in the El Clasico, he was exposed massively and again was directly involved in the multiple goals that Real Madrid conceded against Barcelona. And then against AC Milan, they just targeted him hard. They exposed his weaknesses as a defender, and you can't really blame him, again, because he's not a defender. He is an attacking player. He was always an attacking player, and he doesn't have that discipline, defensive discipline or the defensive instinct, for example, like Carvajal would, or a Rudiger or a Militao would. So you can't really blame him, but he's not great at 1v1 defending. He's not a strong player. He's not the fastest player. So when he goes against the likes of Rafinha or Leao or very fast, explosive, strong, quick wingers, he's 1v1, he's always going to be exposed. He's always going to suffer, and that's what has happened. And don't get me wrong, yeah, Real Madrid doesn't really have many options there, but for example, against AC Milan, Valverde in the midfield was not having the greatest game, so Carlo Ancelotti removed him from the midfield. I would put Valverde as instead of Vazquez as a right back, And I think Valverde, defensively, he will be better because he's a better player defensively. He's faster than Vasquez, he's stronger, and he would be able to cope with the wingers. And he is a disciplined player. So it's a little bit strange that Carlo Ancelotti is not recognizing this. And again, against Osasuna, he started Vasquez. Obviously, the opponent is not as strong as Barcelona or AC Milan in the Champions League. But it's just strange that he knows defending is the problem. He has said this many times. So for him to not recognize this, or to still, I mean, I'm sure he does recognize it, but he's still trusting that option, and he's game after game going with Lucas Vasquez in the right defensive position is just strange to see. And it's costing Real Madrid games. It's costing Real Madrid points in the league, points in the Champions League. Now with the new Champions League format, Real Madrid is, I think 18th now at this point, which is not good at all. And it's an issue. Now, Vasquez also was one of the players that just got injured. So Militao tore his ACL again. This is his right ACL, right knee now. He tore his ACL in his left knee last season, and he was off for the whole season basically. And he just came back. It's been a few months, and now his right knee is out. So that's a bit unfortunate, and he's out again, and he's going to be suffering from that. And I don't think Militao is going to be the same ever again, even after he comes back from this injury. So we lost Militao to injury again. Lucas Vasquez got hurt, so he is out. So Real Madrid has been struggling defensively, and now they're losing more defenders. So it's a real problem. I mean, this international break came just at the perfect time, maybe, for some of these players to recover. Rodrigo also has a muscle problem. He's a hamstring problem. He had it a few weeks ago. He came back and he injured it again. So he's going to be out for 5, 6, 7 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't think Real Madrid's problem is Mbappe. I think, yes, Mbappe is not delivering what we all have imagined that he will be delivering. He's not scoring a huge number of goals, but he's still creating chances. He's still showcasing his skills. He's still able to play for the team. And I don't think Mbappe is Real Madrid's problem. I think defensively Real Madrid has to do better. And yes, part of it is the attacking players. When Real Madrid is high pressing, it has to be organized, it has to be collective, and everybody has to be on the same page, and it has to be successful, because if it's not, the press breaks very easily, and then Real Madrid is exposed, especially, like I said, with the players that are not great defensively. It's hard to say that Mbappe needs to score more goals, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. I think overall, collectively, Real Madrid needs to improve defensively, and part of it is the players, part of it is Mbappe, part of it is Vinicius defensively. But as a coach, Carlo Ancelotti has some pressure on him, and rightly so, and he needs to figure it out. And he needs to figure it out quickly, because at Real Madrid, the fans, the club, they don't care how successful you have been. And he has been so successful, and he is loved at the Bernabeu. But if he's not able to keep that high standard and keep that success rate, it's not going to work out, unfortunately. And there's already little rumors of replacements and who it's going to be. I don't like to see that. I think we have to trust the process, and I think with Mbappe coming, there's a little bit of a transition period, and I think Carlo Ancelotti is experienced enough to turn things around. So I think it's a bit unfair, but also the performances have not helped either. When the team is not performing well and they're not winning, it's a big problem. In the past seasons, Real Madrid hasn't performed that great sometimes, but they have won. They've gotten the results, whether it was luck, whether it was individual brilliances of some of the players like Jude Bellingham, Vinicius, Rodrigo, blah blah, Benzema. But if you're not playing well and you're not winning, and you're Real Madrid and you're the coach of Real Madrid, there's a big problem. So let's see how it's going to change. Let's see how the coaching staff is going to work to make up for these injuries. There's serious rumors of maybe potentially Sergio Ramos coming back and helping out for the remainder of the season or something. Would that be a good option? Who knows? Players have done that in the past. It could work out. It could be the short-term solution. But I think it's better to look at it from a bigger perspective, look at it long term and recognize that with Carvajal out for the rest of the season completely, and with his age also, Real Madrid needs to maybe look at some long term solutions for the center back and also the full back position. So yeah, time will tell. We'll see what happens. Going back to that defensive talk and defending as a team, the Arsenal versus Inter Milan game in the Champions League was a great example of defending as a unit and collectively. Inter Milan was fabulous defensively. Mid block, they were great. Low block towards the end of the game, in the last 15-20 minutes, they were amazing. And everybody was defending as a unit. Everybody was stepping together, everybody was pressing together, players were covering, there was support, and everybody was dropping together. And Arsenal was doing amazing as well, even though they lost 1-0. In the last 15-20 minutes, they had so much pressure on Inter Milan, and they were able to keep the ball and keep possession so high up the pitch. And every single time there was a second ball, Arsenal majority of the time was able to get it back, and they were able to regain possession of the ball. And that's defending. They lose the ball, they're creating chances, but they're winning it back very, very high, and they were able to keep that pressure on Inter Milan. It was a really good game tactically, and both teams, I would say, did really good defensively, and that's something Real Madrid is missing at the moment and is not doing well at all. So is it going to be possible for the likes of Mbappe and Vinicius and Jude Bellingham to work that hard, be that disciplined and organized defensively, either high up the pitch when they're high pressing, or drop and do the work and cover spaces and recover after they're not successful once they attacked? Are they going to be able to deliver that? We'll see, and once again, time will tell. On another note, Man United has a new manager, Ruben Amorim, and it's exciting times. Now, before we get to that, obviously after Erik ten Hag's sacking, Ruud van Nistelrooy was the interim manager for 4 games, and the stats were pretty good for Ruud van Nistelrooy because he won 3 games, tied 1 game, and didn't lose any games. The players looked refreshed, they looked more energetic, the team was able to score goals, defensively they were better, and they were getting results. So they're playing well, the players looked fresh and excited about playing for Ruud van Nistelrooy, or was it because they knew that there's a new manager coming and they need to showcase their skills and what they're about? But Ruud van Nistelrooy did really good, and there was news today that he's not going to continue at Man United, and he's said his goodbyes and he's leaving the club officially. So he's not going to be part of Ruben Amorim's plans for the remainder of the season and for the future. So that kind of sucks because it makes you think, what if the club did trust Ruud van Nistelrooy and they kept him for the remainder of the season before hiring a new manager? Maybe he was the solution. Maybe he is not as amateur as we think as a manager. Maybe he was able to bring back Man United to winning ways. But we'll never know. And if Ruud van Nistelrooy continues to manage as head coach in other clubs, we will only then be able to see if he is going to be a successful manager or not. So well done, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Good stuff. I think he did really well given all the uncertainties at Man United. And now Ruben Amorim has come in. There's big hype around his name. Obviously, he's been very successful at Sporting. Great stats, great style of play. And is he going to be able to bring that to United? Is he going to be able to work his magic at Man United and bring Man United back to where everybody thinks Man United belongs, which is at least top 4 and playing in the competitions like the Champions League and fighting for the Premier League title? We're going to see. We're going to have to wait and see. But there's a lot of excitement. Is he going to be the solution? Is he going to be able to cope with the pressure? He's still a young manager. Great experienced managers have struggled. Is the club going to be able to back him and give him what he needs? Whether it's the structure of the club, whether it's the players that he wants to bring in, whether it's the style that he wants to play. I honestly don't know. I'm not very confident just because of the history in the past few seasons with multiple different managers that have come and gone. It's okay to be excited as a football fan to see Man United competing or coming back to winning ways, but I think we should keep our feet on the ground and we should We should wait and see before we're too judgmental, because he needs to come and he needs to compete with the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, all the top, Aston Villa, all these, Chelsea, all these teams that are looking good this season. To be honest, it's a bit more competitive compared to the past few seasons. So good luck to Ruben Amorim, and let's see how it goes for you. Last thing I want to talk about in today's episode is all the injuries. There's so many injuries happening to players and to all the teams this season, and a lot of them are serious. I mean, how many ACL injuries have we had? Honestly, this season it's crazy. Like, I don't remember the last time I've seen this many players tear their ACLs, and these are serious injuries, and it's very difficult to come back from these and be the player that you were before the injury. We've had players like Rodri come on and say and complain about the number of games the players have to play now because of the many different competitions that are just created. What is the point of all these competitions? Obviously, we all know it's about money, but he at some point he said that players consider going on strike, and nobody wants to see that, because if there's no players, there's no football. So it's very disappointing, and it's actually very sad to see all these injuries happen. I mean, like I said previously, Militao, I really hope that I'm wrong about this, but I can't see Militao being the player he was before the two ACL injuries that he has had. So it's very sad, but what I'm really interested in is I want to ask ChatGPT how many ACL injuries have happened in professional football this season so far compared to previous seasons. So let's see. In men's professional football, ACL injuries have indeed increased this season, with major leagues in Europe and elsewhere seeing an unusually high number of these injuries among top players. Notable players like Neymar, Militao, Timber are among those sidelined for the season, joining a substantial list of other players who have faced similar ACL issues this year. Some experts attribute this rise to the increasing intensity and frequency of matches, alongside factors like playing surfaces and player fatigue, which goes back to, again, the number of games that they play. By contrast, the previous season saw fewer ACL injuries, indicating a potential upward trend. Clubs and leagues are increasingly concerned, promoting studies into the mechanisms and situational patterns that lead to ACL injuries, especially given the high impact on players' careers and team dynamics. Honestly, I don't think it's rocket science. I think it's very obvious. If players are playing 60, 65, 70 games per season, their bodies are not as fresh, they're not recovering properly, and they're more exposed to big injuries such as an ACL injury. So and to be honest, the quality of the game, the quality of football that they play, it drops. So I agree. I think this is not good for football. I think many fans in the world will agree with this. Yeah, it's good to see a lot of games, it's good to see a lot of exciting matches, but quality over quantity, I think, would win in this situation. And like we said, it's not fair for the players too, because it really impacts their performances, their careers, and also their lives. They're human beings after all. So hopefully big clubs, big teams, big players, big coaches, big owners come together, they recognize this, and they bring it up to UEFA, to FIFA, and they find a solution for this. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments and your opinion about the stuff that we covered today in the comment section below. I would love to read them and see what you guys think about the things that were discussed, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.